These are my two binders of the Milwaukee Gas Light Company cookbooks. Starting at the early 1940s, there's no colored ink on this, so I'm thinking it's probably from during World War II. And then I go on through the 60s. I'll start out with this one. This is Milwaukee Gas Light Company cookbook from the Home Service Department from about the early 1940s, probably during the World War II, because there is no color ink. Just called Holiday Greetings. This 1947, Holiday Foods for Gift or Guests. 1949, Holiday Foods for Family and Friends. Holiday Foods 25th Anniversary Home Service Department, Milwaukee Gas Light Company. The reason it was called the Milwaukee Gas Light Company was because in Milwaukee, the gas company had the lines that ran underground for the street lights and also for the gas lighting in the homes in the beginning. This is 1952 Festive Foods for the holiday season. 1953 for holiday hospitality. 1954, Festive Foods for the Holiday Hostess. 1955, Festive Foods. 1956. 1957, Festive Foods. And if you had watched my video of my settlement cookbooks, and I showed a little picture of this book that my mother got in 1957 when she bought a gas stove. 1958, Festive Foods. 1959, Festive Foods and Table Settings. And in this little pocket here, I had a few that isn't Milwaukee Gas Light. This is Minnesota Gas Light. And these are just small little pamphlets, probably from the 1940s and 50s. This last one said 1959. This is the 1961 Festive Foods. Enjoy delicious eating every day. 1962, A Treasury of Holiday Treats, Festive Foods. Festive Foods, Best Festive Foods Ever, 1963. Festive Foods for Four Seasons, 1964. 1965, The Best of Festive Foods. 1966, Festive Foods for Family Fun. 67, Festive Foods. 68, 69. Now these are, the name is changed here to Wisconsin Gas. Festive Foods 1970. 71, 72, 73. This is between the 70s and 80s, I'm not quite sure. And this is an extra little recipe sheet from November of 1970 for sauteed chicken livers with apples and onion rings. I'm not a fan of liver, sorry. So today I'm going to get out my mother's 1957 cookbook. And this is my choice of the Christmas cookie. Everyone in the family has chosen one Christmas cookie that I will make for them. And my choice is Almond Crescents. So I'll set up for making that, and I'll be right back. Hello. The Almond Crescents out of this book, it says to cream butter well, add 3 tablespoons of sugar and to continue creaming until light and fluffy. It's using 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar, Confectioners Sugar. I'm doubling this recipe. We start out with putting the butter in there and creaming the butter. 1 cup of butter. Or if you're doing the original recipe, a half a cup of butter. So it says, cream the butter until light and fluffy. Then add the 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar, but seeing I'm doubling it, this is 6 tablespoons. And I did sift the sugar so it wouldn't have any lumps in it. Okay, the almonds, I grated these in my osterizer, my blender, until they were fine. Okay, now it says to chill the dough in your Servel Gas Refrigerator. Gas refrigerator. And then after that we form them into crescents. But now the dough has to chill, and when that's chilled, then I'll come back and form them and bake them. The dough has been chilled. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to try measuring out some out of this with this little scoop and see if that'll give me the size I need. If not, I'll have to get a little bigger one. This is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to use that as my guide for rolling the rest of this. And then you shape it into a crescent and put it on the pan. So what I'm going to do is scoop out the dough into little balls. Right now it's too cold, so they're trying to break up a little bit. So I'm just going to make the dough into little balls, and then I'll roll them out and put them on the pan. Now I use this little scoop to make them all into balls that were about the same size. So all the crescents would be the same size. And then I started rolling these out. You roll them to 2.5 inches, like I said before, and then you bend them into a crescent shape and put it on the baking pan. When I was making the pixie cookies in my other video with my granddaughter, she asked me what my favorite memory was of Christmas when I was a little girl. And I couldn't really think of anything right off the top of my head like that. So I told her about our Christmas tree, how we always waited until Christmas Eve because it was a live tree, a fresh tree. And if you brought it into the house with the heat, it would start drying out. And then you put those hot lights on that we had back then. We didn't have energy saver lights. Those bulbs were hot and they were a fire hazard, so we'd wait until Christmas Eve to put up our tree, and then it stayed up until New Year's. And I told her about my mother putting all the strands of tinsel on it. Well, then later I remembered that, you know what, I was thinking about it and I'm going, my favorite Christmas was when I was in my early teens and I got to play Mary in the Christmas pageant at church. Another memory, when I got to play Mary at the Christmas pageant at church, I had to practice my lines so that I would be able to be heard in the back of the church. I had to do it loud and I had to remember what the lines were. So I had my mother listen to me if she could hear me, and I went in the little closet that my father used for his work clothes. He worked for the railroad and he had overalls that he would wear. He worked on the freight trains. And so he had a little closet that he would keep his overalls in. And so I went in the closet and shut the door and then recited my lines and then went back to the kitchen and said, "Did you hear me?" She goes, "I almost could hear you." So I practiced my lines so I had the words right and I had the volume right. It looks like I'm going to have about 6.5 dozen of these almond crescents. Another memory that I had of Christmas was my father, when he went on the road, on the railroad, he would be gone for like 3 days at a time and then come home. Well, Christmas Eve he was coming home but he wouldn't be ready for church. So my mother took us kids to the Christmas Eve service, and when he got home, he put out the Santa Claus gifts. And we came home and oh boy, that was a surprise. Santa Claus came on Christmas Eve rather than Christmas during the night where we could see him in Christmas morning. But my parents soon learned the mistake of that because they had a hard time getting us to bed at night because we just wanted to play. So they never did that one again. We didn't get a lot of gifts at Christmas time. We each maybe got 2 or 3 and that was it. And that was enough. We got 2 or 3 gifts that we appreciated and played with. I think if we had a whole bunch, like, oops. I think if we had a whole bunch of gifts like I see in some photos where they have presents spread across half the living room, and I thought, what child is going to be able to know what toy to play with and what one to throw aside, and they won't be appreciated as much. So I have to put this in the oven at 325 degrees for 18 minutes. I remember early, I was pretty young, maybe about 4, and for Christmas my brother and sister both got bikes, and I got a little tractor, a pedal tractor, 3-wheel pedal tractor. That was something. Then when I was 6 years old, my younger sister was born in December. So she was our Christmas baby. Who needed dolls from Santa when you got a new baby in the house? Although seeing I was the baby of the family for 6 years, I was a little jealous of her. She'd get more of my mom's attention than I used to have. I remember after Christmas, or after New Year's, when everyone would put their Christmas trees out on past the sidewalk by the road for the garbage guys to come pick up. They'd pick up all those Christmas trees, and as we would be walking by, sometimes you'd spot something shiny in the branches, and you'd look and there would be an ornament still on the tree, forgotten. I was surprised it didn't break. It was because just about all the ornaments back then were glass. We didn't have plastic ornaments. Okay, this is the last one. And I guess just wait for that. I have 2 pans of crescents in the oven right now. And when they come out, then I'll put these on, and then I'll get ready to sugar them. Because when they come out, while they're still warm, you roll them in this powdered sugar and cinnamon combination. And then the powdered sugar kind of melts onto the cookie. Delicious. You wouldn't think cinnamon and almonds, but it is very good. So now this pan is out. And while they are still warm, I need to put them in the powdered sugar and cinnamon mixture. Oh, there's a broken one. Free samples. Okay, I'll go get my other pan. So now the crescents are all out of the oven and they've been sugared, powdered sugar and cinnamon. But I just wanted to point out this is the Almond Crescents on page 47 of the 1957 Festive Foods from the Gas Company in Milwaukee. But this book also has another family favorite on page 49, which is called Chocolate Dips. So if you have this book, do try the chocolate dips and the almond crescents. I hope you have a happy holiday season. Goodbye.